Hello and welcome to the I Just Love Footy YouTube channel. My name is Anthony. I'm looking forward to sharing this journey with you. I want to cut straight to the chase and waste none of your time. I want to talk about footy players that I am most optimistic about in season 2024. Clearly, as you can see, there is kind of a bias here. I'm a big Collingwood fan, so I'll talk mainly about Collingwood footy players that I know a little bit more about, and we'll sparsely see some, videos on other footy players from different footy clubs. Now, the first player I want to talk about is Reef Mcinnes, young Reef Mcinnes, 21 years old, going 22 in season 2024. He stands at 6'4" and roughly at the 90 kilogram mark, which is he's not too slender for the role that Collingwood are asking of him at the moment, which looks to be a second to third key tool and maybe more midfield time as he gets older and as needed in the midfield. Just not right now, clearly, with the depth we have. I want to preface this video by saying this is an out of contract year for Reef, so I would imagine there's going to be opportunities. I'm sure Reef wants to see what he's capable of at an AFL level for an extended period, as well as the club and, of course, the fans. We want to see a bit more of Reef in season 2024. Now, as some of you might know, Reef's season mostly resided in the VFL system last year in 2023. I actually just want to quickly preface that a lot of the data I'm going to give you is objective. I like to fall back on that to have some sort of weight in these conversations, rather than just saying he's trained really well, he's training the house down. I'd like to give you a little bit more than that, through a different lens, an objective lens. Now, Reef played 14 games. The VFL app suggests 15. However, I saw donuts earlier in the season when he played against North Melbourne, so I'm going to assume he didn't actually play that game. He kicked 32 goals and 15 behinds, which sits him roughly at a goal kicking accuracy percentage of 69%, which is well above the AFL standard for last year, which was roughly around 50%. Now, I'm obviously mindful and I'm not naive. I know that the AFL is levels above VFL from a pressure and intensity standpoint, so those numbers don't exactly translate. However, that is what we have to work with, so that's what we're gonna use. I think that can only give Reef a sense of confidence moving forward when he is presented the opportunity in the AFL. Reef finished just outside of the top 10 for goal kicking, and it was interesting to see that most of the players in that top 10 were not quite anywhere near Reef's age bracket. We saw Buku Kamis from Western Bulldogs. He is a 2000 born player, whereas Reef is 2002. I think there was another player in 02. However, outside of that, most players were around the 1997 mark, leaving them at 25, 26, 27-year-old mark, which you could argue is their prime. So for Reef to be amongst that realm of players who are supposed to be in their prime is, again, it can only give a sense of an extra boost of confidence for Reef moving forward. With those numbers, you could assume that his season was largely consistent from the first few rounds to the end. Some notable moments in that season, particularly towards the back end, were games against Southport and Geelong, where Collingwood needed to win to solidify their spot. I think it was in the play-ins, so the play-ins to get into the finals, which were the top 6, I believe. So it was 7, 8, 9, 10 were the play-ins, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were the finals. And Reef obviously played a significant role in those games and kicked 4 goals in both those games to solidify the spot in the play-ins. And then Collingwood, the VFL side, subsequently played Richmond in an elim final where Reef kicked 3 goals in a winning game. So again, this will only develop character, a winning character, and a clutch trait to perform in these big games, albeit at a VFL level. From anecdotal point of views, from media faces in the scene, there are only positive things being said about Reef's preseason. He's obviously, again, being played as a forward, training really well, as seen in intra-clubs. So there's more to be seen as we play practice matches against other AFL teams in the next few weeks. So that will be very interesting to see. As far as who is Reef competing with when it comes to spots. And while I do think we've got Ash Johnson, it's more of a like for like, whereas I will say Reef probably does have that extra string to the bow when it comes to being able to play in the midfield at a later date. I think that gives him a bit of edge over Ash Johnson, without mentioning Ash's age. So ultimately, there is an inherent higher skill and potential ceiling for Reef Mcinnes being that much younger than Ash Johnson. Although I love Ash Johnson, I think they can both be in the same Collingwood side this year for an extended period, creating winning formula. I don't think so. However, I'm willing to be proven wrong. But I was going to say, while like for like, that is, I guess, the two players who you say, okay, well, who's playing? Is it Reef or is it Ash? And I would probably extend that conversation to whether Coxie and Darcy Cameron stay within the side the whole season. If Mason Cox is not performing, can a Darcy Cameron play that number one ruck role for the most of the games that he will be a part of, which maybe allows Reef to play as that third key tall. That's my food for thought. Where does Coxie and Cameron stand in all of this? We've got players like McCreary who's moving into the midfield a little bit more. We've got Jamie Elliott who's being tried at halfback. What else have we got? We've got Frampton who fulfilled a role in the grand final against Harris Andrews, but I don't think he's going to be in the forward line this season. I think his best position is in the back line. I think that's where his best opportunity is. So that's my conjecture. That's my opinion. Will that happen? I don't know. We can only make predictions here, but I'm really bullish on Reef having a great season in the AFL. What does a good season look like for Reef? Well, I think there's no reason why he couldn't play 10 games as a starter this season once the opportunity presents itself. And I think anything north of 25 goals for the season would be an A+, and would see him again slowly transcend into a greater role for the Collingwood Football Club as we see older players fall out of the club. We've got the Pendleburys, we've got the Myerchecks, we've got the Side Bottoms, we've got Mason Cox. We've got players who are getting older, which will naturally see these younger players progress into more significant roles. That's going to be it for today. Please, if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to leave a comment, whether you agree or disagree, I don't mind. I'm open for that conversation. Please leave a comment and subscribe if you want to stick around and see some more content from me. Thanks, guys. See ya.